चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री पाद की जय।
Jai. King Vena is dead. Finally. Everything comes to an end in this material world. And King Vena, he called upon his own death. Like Vinash Kale Viprit Buddhi, as the end was nearing, he was becoming more and more vicious. And he called his own death closer. And I was just thinking how all these personalities like Duryodhan, Shishupal, they don't have that peace, They like Vena always envying, always criticizing, always belittling, always putting down the sages. So it's not a nice state of mind to be in. And I was thinking about the types of personalities like that, who we may think, oh, they're so bad, they're doing this. But when you look inside their minds, envious, angry, always irritable, no peace, no happiness, no real connection, no intimacy, only in that mood of abusing and hurting others. And it's not a nice life to be. Even if they look like, people may look like they're getting their way, it's not worth it because, see, death just comes and he didn't even finish the purpose of his life. Now something beautiful starts happening. Prthu Maharaj is born, and from Vena's body, they churned out. If you look at the scientific advancement of the sages, just with one mantra, right? Om, and they just the intention, they sent the intention, and Vena was dead. That's it. They don't need any weapons, no poison, nothing. Just one mantra. That's the Brahmanical power. And then now we see that they churned out, and from that body, they churned out different things. And one was a dwarf. One dwarf was born from Vena's corpse, and he was blackish, complexion like a crow. And then his limbs were short and his jaw large. He had flat nose, reddish eyes, and copper-colored hair. So before Prthu Maharaj comes this personality. And this personality, look at the contrast. Completely humble, very sweet. Okay, so let's continue. The sages said in one voice, Nishada, Bahuka. Okay, that's what who was born, Bahuka. Okay, please continue. Who likes to read this? A gentle breeze.
A gentle breeze rustled the leaf of the tree under which Vidura sat with Maitreya. Vena was a great fool, said Vidura. But tell me, who was the dove that came from his body? What did the sage mean by Nishada Bahuka? Maitreya explained that Bahuka means dove. There is a race of doves known as the Nishada, I believe, said Vidura. Yes, replied Maitreya. This Bahuka was the father of the Nishad race, who are infamous for their sinful activities like stealing, plundering, and hunting. Therefore, they are banished to live in the hills and forests. They acquired their sinful nature because Bahuka assumed Vena's sinful inclinations. Chapter 15, King Prthu appears. Mataji, next page, or you are muted.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so I was speaking about how the parental qualities get transferred to the children. And sometimes, as much as we may hate our parents or we may dislike certain qualities, we also have some of the negative qualities of our parents. So, here, before Maharaj Prthu can actually come out, the negative qualities of Vena had to come out, had to be squeezed out, purification kind of. And this Nishada came out, right? So I was just thinking about this thing of how we all carry the DNA, what it means to carry the DNA. It means that we carry the qualities of our parents as well, the negative qualities as well as positive. Depending on our karma and our thing, we carry more bad or more good or whatever. And we also saw how Vena, he took on the qualities of the mother, right? Remember? So um, the sons take the quality of the mother and the daughters take the quality of the father. So this is something to be aware of when we are doing anartha nivriti, to be aware of the fact that we have this DNA or the qualities. What makes us devotee is when we can transcend that, like Prahlad Maharaj, we could transcend that hereditary qualities. And now Nishada is born and all the infamous qualities of stealing, plundering, hunting, they all kind of got in him. And that's why the Nishadas are banished to live in the hills and forests. And yeah. Okay. Please
Is
continue.
it one thing is there? Is it like that three guna, like same character, can be played different in the three modes? When yesterday you shared that nakshatra, your book, where I read that nakshatra, and they have mentioned, I mean, it is mentioned that that certain nakshatra plays, when it is mode in a sattva guna, it plays a different role, and mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So is it same here, like when the person having this point of like qualities, like although they inherit some of the qualities, but when it is more in mode of ignorance, it becomes more like more uh, vulnerable, and more destroying and destructive. And when it comes to the mode of passion, it's behave in a certain way, and when it's come to the mode of goodness, now see how the Prthu Maharaj is coming, maybe because we are the combination, so it is coming up.
Certainly. Yeah, it is the modes. Certainly. And if you see in that book I wrote, I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, under every nakshatra, I wrote how that nakshatra will act in Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. So, influenced mostly by Tamas Guna, the same nakshatra will act in a different way. And in the mode of Rajas Guna, the same nakshatra will act in a different way. I did a whole research about that, and I took into account so many people that I know of those nakshatras I studied, and then I combined this principle of modes, and I saw that this is really what you just described is exactly the point. And reciting this specific Vishnu Sahasranam mantra depending on, so for example, okay, somebody has a bad Venus, like Vena, typical. Bad Venus is like really like bad decisions, insulting the sages, and not knowing how to actually choose beneficial how to make beneficial decisions for your future. That's what happens when somebody has a bad Venus. Venus definitely represents luxury and sense gratification and your desire, and it basically is like the desire, how you desire, and on a practical level, Venus represents your ability to make choices. So let's say somebody has a difficult Venus. Let's say their Venus is in a very Ghora nakshatra, and or they maybe they're it's in a Raudra nakshatra, so they're always like crying, or they're always in that mood of crying for something and wanting something. And let's say the Venus is in that nakshatra, uh, like say Ardha nakshatra or something, that's like Rudra's nakshatra, and it's always like very intense in their aggression and feeling a sense of Venus means they will say, I want this and I want that, and there's like a never ending sort of a fire in them. And that Ardha also means drops of water, which means rain. So if that person has a particular planet in that nakshatra, they'll struggle. And let's say the planets have negative influences, they will struggle, right, in that regard. So naturally, tamas guna will be stronger because that planet may be influenced by negative planets like that. So then there is a suffering which is connected due to the mode of ignorance. But the same person with the same nakshatra, a little bit more influenced by Rajas Guna, which means maybe they do some other, like let's say some other planet helps them. Let's say Mercury. Let's say they are very like friendly people. They always go to kirtans. They love to have fun with devotees. Okay, let's say that kind of good. Let's say Mercury is in Rohini nakshatra, some like soft nakshatra. So that particular mood will be lighter, right? So that Mercury being in sattva and Venus being in ignorance combines them. Maybe there are times that they cry and make a fuss and they throw tantrum and they destroy everything in the house, typically, right? Because why? Venus reasons. They may have desire, like I want to buy a new phone, and then they say the father or mother says, no, I will not buy you. And that Venus will throw such a tantrum, total tamas guna. Say they destroy things in the house, they scream, they shout, they throw things around. So that planet is definitely acting in that mode of ignorance. But the same nakshatra, the same thing, but when we chant this Vishnu Sahasranam prayers, we pacify that planet. By the way, Rasastali Mataji, if she's there, I don't know, please remind me to do the no, she's not. No, she's there. Please remind me to do the affirmation reading. Yesterday also we did it at the. No, I forgot. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is very, very important question. That this mantras, what it can do is automatically raise us to the platform of goodness. Because those mantras, it purifies whatever the nakshatra, whatever the nature, etc. It purifies it. It may still be that the person will cry. I have personal experience with people I know closely. When they chanted this particular mantras, even if they're Raudra nakshatra, even if it's a crying nakshatra, even they're supposed to go through that pain of feeling, I want this and I want that, and not really getting it and losing it. But when they chant these mantras, somehow or another, that same Ardha, they cry, but they don't cry in tamas guna. They cry in sattva guna. They cry that very creative services which channels that energy, and while doing that service they cry to get the perfect items or perfect materials, or they go and they struggle a lot, and the struggle is somehow or another gets transformed into the service attitude, into the quality, which becomes like a impetus to develop good quality as a Vaishnava, as a devotee. So I always highly recommend that, many people have many remedies, right? Do this yagya, do navagraha homa, do something or another which is not directly devotional service, not directly Krishna conscious, wearing stones, it seems. So many things people do, okay? Bring and keep snake skin in your house, then your Ketu problem will be solved. There are all these karma kanda things, but they all bind us. They all bind us. They're not going to bring us to the mode of sattva guna, so we process that karma. What some of these remedies do is it suppresses it. It suppresses it until you keep doing that particular mundane remedy, and then one time everything comes back the minute we get a little careful, right? Careless. This just like I'm thinking that you remember the Aditi pregnancy the other time, and she gets pregnant, and then Indra is waiting that she makes a mistake, right? You remember that? So like that, when we do mundane remedies or take shelter, karma and is always waiting to enter into us and destroy us in one sense. By the way, speaking about qualities, one time Prahlad Maharaj, right? He was born with so much, he was endowed with these qualities. Um, and then Indra once becomes very scared that, oh my God, Prahlad Maharaj is so qualified. What if he'll take my position? Indra is always insecure. Somebody will take my position. So then he approaches Prahlad Maharaj, who's so merciful, so kind, right? And he asks for all the good qualities Prahlad Maharaj has to be transferred to him. And Prahlad Maharaj says, fine. And then he gives all the good qualities to Indra. And then somebody asks Prahlad Maharaj, are you not scared if you give away all your good qualities? What will remain of you? You are a great devotee because of your great qualities. And he says, well, because I'm already a devotee, naturally these qualities will come back to me. And very soon the qualities did come back to Prahlad Maharaj, because qualities are also, there are personified qualities. By the way, you're all going to give class, you can do a little research on this. Qualities of compassion or kindness or mercifulness or patience, they all have a personified, like, we have personified Ganga Devi, personified Yamuna Devi. So like that, qualities also have personification. So the personification of the characters after they left Prahlad and went to Indra, later on they were all waiting when to come back to Prahlad. So they all eventually came back. My grandmother told me the stories from Mahabharata. Narad Muni tells this story. So that's why we say we don't need to separately develop good qualities. And that's why this Vishnu Sahasranam, because that's directly is glorifying the Lord's names in specific mode of specific, that connects to that specific nakshatra and your specific planet. Then it relieves us of the bondage of self. That's what Vishnu Sahasranam does. It relieves us of the bondage of selves and makes us ready to act according to Krishna's will. So beautiful, right? That's what we are attempting to do here. Like our acharyas did, act according to Krishna's will. So that's the long answer. Is it?
Yeah, thank you, Madhuri.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Mataji, would you like to continue?
King Prthu appears. From the churning of Vena's body, the sage mystically produced Prthu and Archie, partial incarnation of Vishnu and Lakshmi. Maitreya said, after Vena's corpus was purified of sinful reaction, the sage churned his arm. Two splendid persons, a man and a woman, then emerged. Examining the bodily feature of the couple, the sage could understand that they were divine. One of them said, the male appears to me to be an empowered incarnation of Vishnu, the maintainer of the universe, while the female seems to be an empowered expansion of the goddess of fortune, who always remained with him. Another sage, after calculating the couple's astrological chart, said the male should be called Prthu. He will become famous throughout the world as the best of kings. The female should be named Archie. She is Prithu's consort. Her charming bodily feature will even beautify her ornaments. Vishnu has empowered Prithu with his own potency in order to protect the people. The goddess of fortune, Vishnu's constant companion, has also partially incarnated her potencies in Archie. My dear Vidura, the assembled Brahmins loudly praised King Prithu, and the best singer among the Gandharvas sang his glories. The Siddhas, who inhabit the higher planetary system, showered.
Was this is also very something simple astrological tool. We are so fortunate, we come from this rich culture. Everything is about vibrations and letters and numbers. Everything has so much meaning, so much sense, so much mysticism. Because there's the macrocosm, which is the universe and its totality and its wholesomeness and all the complications and complexities. And then there's the macrocosm, which is us. So in the Jivatma, we as Jivas, we have this influence upon us, what's happening there in the cosmos, up there in the sky, so to say, when the planets are moving and they're having this, like 2 days, in 2 days there's eclipse, 3 days, 3, 4 days, 3, 4 days there's eclipse, total lunar eclipse. So all this planetary positions, it has a direct impact on the human mind, on the human psyche. So I have always found this very fascinating, the interconnectedness between the macrocosm, and on the bigger level, how things happen, and then how in the microcosm it affects the minds of the individuals. So these names also, right? When we were born under specific nakshatras, then that particular sound vibration. See, sound vibration is a very Vedic concept. Then the specific names are given, starting with those letters. So then it activates that individuals and those qualities of that nakshatra. And what is the purpose? Again, it's the going back to the 4 personality types of Krishna. And it's all, see, everything goes back to the root of everything is Krishna's personal form, personal features, personal qualities. And then it gets divided and subdivided into all this. So that's one thing. And then, by the way, talking about eclipse, I may forget. I highly recommend that you all check wherever you are in the world. You check most all of you are in India only. So, okay. So it's in the midnight for us, around, say, 12 o'clock, 12 to 1, like that. The major eclipse, it starts a little earlier. But during that time, I suggest, I'm not saying you have to, I suggest that don't sleep, don't eat, don't space out during that particular eclipse time. Take advantage, because that's a very important eclipse that's happening astronomically. And this eclipse can, people, when gochara means when it's visible, solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, when it's visible from where we live, the influence is much more. And it really impacts the psyche, it impacts the consciousness. And lunar eclipse, if we space out during the time instead of sitting and chanting, then it is eclipse, Snehavati Gandharvika eclipse is happening on the 28th night. So basically Rahu covers the moon, and eclipse basically is a direct impact on the mind and consciousness of individuals. So how I'm telling you how to take advantage of it. So what happens is, when people are not not aware, ignorance, again, they don't know when to do this, how to do this, and then they sleep or eat or do something in that time, it takes weeks and months of certain things that get stuck to the consciousness and the mind, and they go through much tough time, depending on which, like in now it's happening in Taurus. So depending on which house the eclipse is happening, that planetary influence can block an individual's progress for a certain time, like that. So I suggest, when the eclipse catches, what we call it is, like, when it's starting, then you take bath immediately. Then after taking bath, you sit down and you chant, because what happens is, there's a positive side of the eclipse thing. During that time, the astrological influences are kind of void. Moon is just covered completely, right? So during those times, during that eclipse time, the siddhi powers, you can gain amazing amounts of spiritual power by reciting mantras and all. So during eclipse, you'll see people who know this kind of knowledge, they will sit and chant. So if you chant any of the mantras, Gayatri or Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or recite Bhagavatam verses, or any of those things you do, you'll get siddhi of it, which basically means you'll that the potency will be much more. You're not influenced by a certain kind of planetary thing in that time, and you have access. It's like a secret ticket or something. You have an opening, and if you take advantage of it, so yeah, I plan to, as soon as it catches, I take bath and sit. I'll chant during that time, and as soon as it ends, you take another bath and go back to sleep. And it's not going to happen for another, I don't know, 20 years. I got this kind of eclipse. So small things. These are very still a part of human civilization, Vedic culture, to know these things. Maybe I should post in our group so people know. Just have to find out the timings of different countries, what time it's happening, and which are all the countries where it is gochara, where it is visible. Only when it's visible, we need to do this thing. Otherwise, we can peacefully go to sleep. Like a few days ago, there was this solar eclipse, 16th or 15th, but it was not gochara here. So we didn't have to do anything. But when it's visible, then yeah, it's full total lunar eclipse. Eclipse the mind. I've seen people making stupid decisions. This is also the time when things end. Truth will come out. Maybe if you are doing something and you thought something, but then truth will be revealed, and you're like, oh, I didn't know. Secrets will come out. It's that kind of eclipse. And then financially also, there is some shift, some changes could happen in the world. Stock market can collapse or crash or something. Money wise also, you may have some argument at home about expenses or something like that. And some relationship might also kind of, something will come up, and then you'll say, wow, truth is coming to light. That since 1 month already this is going on. Since 1 month you'll be feeling this, and then for another month this lasts. So this eclipse is quite strong. 2 months of impact will be there on the mind. Like secrets will come out and stuff like that. And it's also a good time to like end certain things, some end bad habits, end certain kind of tendencies, mentalities, even end toxic friendships or relationships or association. It's very good time, because it, once you do it, it will not come back if you do it in this particular time like that. Yeah, I mean, when I saw this thing about the sages were calculating the astrological charts, you may have question how Prthu and Archie get married and all, although they are just like brother and sister. We'll come to that. Let's see. Okay, it's already, so we can pause here for today. So this is Prthu Maharaj, who was just born, and then there is this flower shower, and all the Gandharvas are singing the glories, right? He's in Pasha incarnation of the Lord. So beautiful, beautiful scene is going on here. See, time, auspicious time celebrations. And during eclipse, even devatas, they go and do this chanting, and they go and take bath in holy rivers. Yeah, you can mentally take a vow. You can write a letter to Krishna. You can, for example, you write down that negative quality, and during that eclipse time or just before or after, you can burn that paper of whatever is your negative quality or tendency or habit. Yeah, also mentally, you like, if you know some relationship is bad for you, some sangha is bad for you, internally you renounce, and you just tell Krishna, I'm not going to travel with one leg here, one leg there anymore. I'm taking my leg off from that boat. Please protect me. And then you declare to Krishna that I don't want to expect from, I mean, you don't have to do anything, meaning don't have to write a harsh letter to that person or tell them don't contact me ever again. You don't need to do any of that. Moon eclipse is very internal sort of things. Internally you detach. Okay, this person is a narcissistic person, and I'm going to detach from expecting anything from this person. Like that, you don't have to do externally anything. Internally, it's like a shift. So we'll pause here, and Rasistali Mataji is going to lead us into Chapa affirmations.
Affirmation 8. I chant to please Radha and Krishna, not to gain anything material. It is said that if we chant the holy name to receive something material, or with the intention of making material progress, it is an offense to the holy name. The very mood, the very essence, the very meaning that the vibration carries is, I want pure devotional service. If we hear the holy name speaking to us, he is saying that surrender is the most relishable and desirable position. The holy names, when chanted properly, naturally inspire our desire for pure devotional service. Therefore, if we are chanting the holy names but are not in this mood, we are out of alignment with the holy names. If while chanting we are asking Krishna to fulfill our material desires rather than connecting to the pure mood of the holy names, then this is impure bhakti. For example, Mayavadis use the holy names to merge into Brahmajyoti, or Sahajiyas use Krishna to fulfill their material desires. We chant the holy name only to further develop the attitude of unmotivated service, service whose only motivation is to please Krishna. This affirmation is a reminder that we don't chant to try to become materially happy. Of course, in the beginning, we may have been motivated to chant to gain something for ourselves, but pure chanting requires that only motive is to purify our heart to please Krishna and to develop our love for Him. If our chanting becomes mechanical, we can remember this affirmation: I want to please Radha and Krishna. We may even wish to imagine Krishna is with us in His holy name and He is enjoying hearing us chant and seeing us becoming purified. He also enjoys seeing our determination to continue to chant enthusiastically even when we are not tasting the holy names. He wants to see that we will do during these times. Will we give up, allow ourselves to get distracted, or continue with enthusiasm, determination, and a desire to please Him, even when we are not experiencing a taste? The paradox is that if we are not experiencing taste, just by chanting to please Krishna, we will experience a taste. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful, super, super relevant, really relevant point. What we discussed about eclipse, what we discussed about astrology, all this, it's not meant for sense gratification. It's meant so that, we live a proper human Vedic culture that will help us to maximize our capacities to serve Krishna when we practice certain things, to help us. The ultimate goal is so we can chant good rounds. So it was very, very relevant. Thank you so much. Perfect.